Hey guys, so it has been brought to my attention that I probably did not explain well in the cow tutorial, so I'm gonna be redoing it, but just the legs. So this tutorial isn't for the whole cow, it's just for once we get to the leg part, because I've gotten a lot of complaints that it's really confusing, so I'm gonna redo it so that way hopefully you guys can figure out the legs. The legs are the hardest part, so I can see how it's confusing, but yeah, hopefully this time I do better. So I'm gonna try again. Hopefully this time you guys can be able to make a cow. And yeah. So if you want to make the whole cow design and you thought this was the tutorial for that, I'll link it here somewhere, or it'll be linked in the description as well. And that way you can go watch the rest of the tutorial and then just come to this part if you have problems with the legs in the other tutorial. So yeah, so you should come here right after you finish the 2 rows of normal after starting the cow, and it should look something like this. And this is about the time where we'd add the legs. So I understand the legs are a little confusing. I also am going to improve how I wrote down the pattern the first time because I found it confusing when I was looking back at it. So I'm going to have a pattern rewritten in the description as well. But right now we're just going to get started on the cow legs. I'm just trying to find the page in my notebook. So the legs are pretty simple. They're not that bad. I feel like it was just how I explained it the first time. So the way I like to think about the legs is you have 16 stitches around. There's 4 legs, so it's about 4 stitches per leg. The other difficult thing is we're adding spots as well because they are cows, so they have spots on the legs. So yeah. So the spots I'm going to be doing today are this mint green color, and I'll tell you when they are. So for the first leg, okay, so the next 2 stitches for this part are going to be in your spot color, so you're just going to go into the next loop. I'm also going to try to go slow. I got to remind myself, like, breathe, don't go too fast. But, so we're going to go into the next loop, and we're going to do 2 single stitches in our spot color, so 1, 2, and then on this third loop, instead of making a stitch, we're going to do this weird chain thing, kind of to add like an extra thing to our cow leg, like the back side of it. And we're going to pull the band through everything on our hook and then put both ends back on our hook. Like that. And then we're going to chain up one more, so just chain up one. And then we're going to turn and we're going to go back into this first loop that has a C-clip on it. And we're going to be using our white. I almost accidentally used a teal. My camera just fell. I should have probably paused to fix, but I think I'm going to need to pause. Okay, we're good now. But you're going to go back into the first band that has a C-clip on it. And then you're going to pull this band through just that loop. Push the back one over the front one. And then you're going to push these 2 loops from last time over as well. Like that. And then you're going to move the C-clip up onto this first band. So it's going to look really weird at this point. This whole back section is just kind of a blob, but we'll sort it out in a sec. So now this is going to be the second row we do, and we're just basically going to be single stitching around this thing we just made. So we're going to go into the second loop right here. We're going to just make a single stitch. And then the rest of this leg is going to be white. So no more mint, just white. And we're just basically going to stitch around. So the next loop is pretty obvious, so just make a single stitch in that. But then in this back part here is where it gets kind of confusing. But you can kind of see the chain thing we did. So we're going to go into this first chain, into like the top half of it. And that's what we're going to make a stitch on. And we're going to do the same thing with the next loop. And then after that, we should be back at the C-clip. And you just went around the leg. So once you get to the C-clip, we're going to flip to our hoof color, which for me, I'm going to be making the same color as the rest of my cow today, but you can make it a different color if you want to. But it's just for the hoof. And you're going to pull this band through everything on your hook because we're flipping colors, and then push the back one over the front one. So you should now have what looks like 5 loops, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. It's more easy to see this row than it was to see last row, but you technically did have 5 last row as well. And yeah, now we're just going to do one more row around this, so we're just going to do single stitches in every loop until we get back to the C-clip. I really hope I'm making more sense this time. But if you didn't get it with this one, I'm going to explain it all 4 times for all 4 legs, so maybe one of the times I explain it to you will make sense to you. I'll try to go slower on the next one, so maybe if you're having struggles, it can help you. So skip ahead to the next one if you're having problems. So once you did one more row around, we're now going to be closing up this leg, I believe. Let me just double check my instructions. Yeah. Okay, so now we're just going to be decreasing everything till it's closed. We didn't decrease or increase anything this row, so you should still have 6 loops if you count around. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Wait, no, we should only have 5 loops. I don't even know where the 6 came from. We should have 5 loops. And now we're just going to decrease everything until it's closed. I think you only have to do 2, so 1, 2, yeah. After this one, I'd consider it more or less closed. And you can take the C-clip out. So you'll just pull a band through everything on your hook, put the back one over the front one and pull tight. And go up into the leg, and then just hide the tail by pulling it back down in. And the bottom should flatten out after you do this. Like that. I don't know why this looks so funky on the bottom. Yeah, it's good. And that is how you do a leg. So we're basically going to do this exact same thing for all the other legs. It's just like spot placement and stuff that's different. But I'm going to show you again, and I'm going to try to go slower in case you're still confused. Okay, I'm just making sure that I have where the spots go correct. Okay, so to start the next leg, we're going to make a stitch in this, in the next loop over, so it shouldn't have any, like, stitches from the last leg. And we're basically going to be using the next 4 loops, so 1, 2, 3, 4. And the first one we do is going to be in white. And just, if you want, you could put a C-clip on this one so you don't lose which is your first one. So you can just put a C-clip on it. And then the second and third stitches that are just single stitches are going to be in your spot color. So 1, 2. And then this, so this is the 4th one we're doing, right? So 1, 2, 3, we just did 3 single stitches. And this 4th one is where we're going to do the weird chain thingy. So what we're going to do is we're going to pull a band through everything on our hook, put both ends back on, and then we're going to just chain one on again. So we're going to pull another white band through everything on our hook and put both ends back on. So we basically just chained one up. And now we're going to turn and we're going to go into the loop that has a C-clip on it. We're going to pull a band through just a loop, push the back one over the front one, and then we'll push these 2 loops over from the last thing we just did. And then we're just going to move the C-clip up onto this band. Like that. And then you have the start of your leg. And it looks a little messy right now, but you can kind of see the 5 loops. So 1, then there's 2, that weird chain thing, 3, 4, 5. So that way we have 5 stitches now, and we're just going to stitch into each of these around. And yeah. I'm really trying to go slow and explain well, guys. But it's kind of hard. So we're going to go into the next loop, which is this one right here. It should be in the spot color. And we're just going to make a single stitch. So we're just doing single stitches all the way around until we get back to the C-clip. The next, so that one is going to be in teal, and then the rest of these are going to be all white. And then, like I said, for these weird chain things we did, you're basically just going to grab the top half of them and make stitches on that part. And then once you get back to the C-clip, we're going to switch over to the hoof color, so whatever color you want for the hoofs. I don't know why this one looks so pointy. I did it right, it's just being weird. I probably just need to pull the end in more. But for the hoof, we're just gonna... So we're gonna flip to the hoof color now, so we're gonna pull a band through everything on our hook and then put the back one over the front one. Like that. And now you should have 5 around if you count. So 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah. Yeah, 5. Okay. And now we're just going to do 1 row around this in our hoof color. So we're just doing single stitches all the way around until we get back to the C-clip. Almost there. I really hope it's making more sense to you guys this time. I think I'm explaining well, but I always think that. Then once you get to the C-clip, you're just going to make a stitch and then move it up onto this band. Like that. So now you're going to be decreasing everything until it's closed, and you should still have 5 loops after that last row. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And like I said, now we're decreasing everything until it's closed. So every single stitch we do is going to be a decrease. And you can take out the C-clip at this point. Yeah. And once it's closed, you just make a stitch and pull tight. And then you'll just pull this back in. Like that. Honestly, I don't know why this one's being all weird and pointy on the bottom. I'm just gonna pull it back in. Yeah. Like that. So we still have to do 2 more legs. So this next third leg is all white except for the bottom, which is the hoof part. That's obviously another color. So I'm going to show you. This one's going to probably be the easiest one to show you because I don't have to worry about spots and things. I also feel like I kind of forgot explaining at the end of that last hoof, but hopefully you understood what I was doing. So once again, we're going to do 3 single stitches. So 1, 2, and you could put a C-clip on this first stitch if you feel like you're going to lose which one it is. I find that helps sometimes. I can't get it to go on. There we go. So we're going to do just 3 single stitches. And then after the 3 single stitches, we're going to go into the next loop. We're going to pull a band through everything on our hook, and we're going to put both ends back on. And then we're going to chain one onto this. So we have 2 loops, or 2 like ends on our hook. We're going to just chain one on. Like that. And then we're going to turn. We're going to go into the loop that has a C-clip on it. We're going to pull a band through just that loop. Push the back one over the front one and make a stitch. And then we'll push the 2 loops from last time over. And then we'll move the C-clip up onto this one. And now after that, we're going to do 1 row around this thing we made. And it should kind of look like you have 5 loops. So you'll count the one on your hook. So 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. And we're going to do single stitches in all these. So we're just going to go around single stitching. And on these weird ones that are kind of like chains, you're just going to go in through the top half and then make a stitch on that. And then once we finish doing that, we're back at the C-clip. We're going to switch over to our hoof color. So our hoof color. And we're going to do a slip stitch. So we're going to be pulling a band through everything on our hook and then pushing the back one over the front one. And then we're going to move the C-clip up onto this band. And now we're going to do one row around this thing we just made, which should still be 5 loops. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. Oh, 5. I'm not counting the one on my hook. And we're just going to go around and do single stitches. And at the end of this row, you should still have 5 loops. I'm not gonna lie, my voice kind of feels like it's going, and it's probably because I already filmed a tutorial this morning, but I thought I would just get them both done today. I filmed the popsicle tutorial, and now I'm filming the cow legs. And there'll be more new tutorials soon, but I feel like I needed to fix this one, so yeah. But once you get to the band that has the C-clip on it, you'll just make a stitch and move the C-clip up onto the new band. And like I said, you should still have 5 loops. So if you can, you should have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And now we're going to decrease everything till it's closed. And you could take the C-clip out at this point, so you can just... And you're just going to decrease everything until you can't no more. And then once you have the last decrease up on your hook, you're going to pull a band through everything on your hook. Put the back one over the front one and pull tight. And then you'll hide the tail inside your cow. Usually I just go up into the leg and I pull it down in and it hides it enough. But, like that. And for this last leg, you can tell that we did it right because you should have 4 loops left. So 1, 2, 3, 4. And I just whacked my camera. But this is the very last leg, and I hope it made more sense this time when I did it. I really tried to explain slow. Yeah, so I hope this is making sense. I feel like I did a better job this time. But let's do the last leg. Okay, so once again, we're going to do 3 single stitches to start. And the first 2 are going to be in the spot color, so 1, 2. And then the third one will be in white. And then once we get to the 4th one, we'll be doing the weird chain thing. So we're going to go in. We're going to pull a band through everything on our hook. We're going to put both ends back on. And then we're going to get another white band. And we're just going to chain one up. Like that. And then we're going to turn. We're going to go into the first loop. And then this should be in your spot color. You're going to pull it through everything on... No, you're not going to pull it through everything on your hook. You're going to pull it through just the first loop. Put the back one over the front one. And then put these 2 loops from last time over. Like that. And you're going to want to C-clip on this band. And then for the next row, we are just going to be doing single stitches in this weird little thing we just made. So you're going to go into the next loop. You're going to make a stitch. Then you're going to go into the loop next to it, make a stitch. And then into these weird chains, you're just only going to go through the top half and make a stitch. It's kind of easier to see on this one. You can see how the chain is. I'm only going to go through the top half of that and make a stitch on it. And then after this row, we should switch over to the hoof color, so get whatever color you have for that. So, and then you'll just pull this, because we're switching colors, through everything on our hook, and then push the back one over the front one, and then you'll move the C-clip up. And after that last row, you should have 5 loops. If you can, you should have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And now we're just going to do one row around the thing until we get back to the C-clip. We're just going to do one row around in the hoof color. So we're just doing one row around. And all the legs are done exactly the same, only the spots change. But once we've gone around, you're just going to make a stitch on the band that has a C-clip on it. And you can move it up or take it out at this point because we're almost done. But you're going to want to check to make sure you still have 5. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And now we're just going to decrease everything until it's closed. So every single stitch we do is going to be a decrease. And if you don't know what a decrease is, in my Loomigurumi Basics video, I explain what a decrease is. So yeah, maybe go check that out if you're confused. But it's really hard to show you how to decrease in the legs. But once you have the last decrease up on your hook, you're going to pull a band through everything on your hook. Put the back one over the front one and pull tight. And then we'll hide the tail in by just going up through the leg. And then snagging it and pulling it in. Oop. I've snagged onto something else as well and trying to not... There we go. And the bottom should flatten out. If not, you can squish it in a little bit. Like that. So the last thing we need to do to finish up the bottom of him is we're just going to get a little bit of stuffing. We're going to put it in. Do I need a little more? Is that the perfect amount? I think I need a tiny bit more. And then basically to close at the bottom, what I do, because right now there's like this big gaping hole, is I basically kind of just chain across in 2 directions. So let me show you how to do that. So what we're going to do is we're going to go in the middle of these 2 legs. And we're going to chain up 3. So 1, 2, and 3. And then we're going to turn and we're going to go across from where we chained up. We're going to find the middle, we're going to go in. And we're just going to pull a band through everything and then slip knot. We're going to do the same thing, so we're going to go to the top. We're going to chain up 3, so 1, 2, 3. And then we'll turn, go to the bottom. You're going to go in between the legs. You're going to pull a band through everything on your hook and pull tight. And then you can just hide these tails up in the cow. Where'd the others? There it is. Okay. So I'm going to send you back to the other tutorial to do the head and all that. So far I haven't had any complaints about that part. I think I just really messed up on the legs in that tutorial. So I'm going to send you back to figure out how to do the head and attach everything. I feel like that part's okay in that tutorial, but yeah. So I hope this helped you figure out how to do the legs. I'm going to go, like I said, I'm going to put the tutorial somewhere on the screen so you can click on it and go finish your cow. Good luck with your cow. I hope it turns out okay. I hope this fixes the leg problem, but I am going to go now, so bye.